Well, there you have it. In the back raised bed, it should be all my broad beans, but they've all been laid flat with the severe cold and the snow. Hi pilgrims. Gosh, what an awful past couple of weeks. Couple of things to report. One, I haven't put up a video in, what, 6 weeks or so. Didn't really have anything to report. I don't make videos just for the sake of making them, but more of a record. But suffice to say, I haven't stopped filming. I've done a lot of films. I've got them all saved, so yeah, they will come up in succession over a period of time. But the main thing I want to say is the broad beans that are planted a way back. You remember those? Unfortunately, they caught frost damage, and when the frost gets into the stem of the plant, it destroys the cells of the plant. Now, we had consistent -6 temperatures with wind speeds of about 20 miles an hour, which gives a wind chill factor of around -14. So yeah, we had that for about 48 hours consistent, and yeah, unfortunately they weren't going to survive. So a wee burial for them a little later. When I say burial, I'll turn them into a raised bed. But what I need to do now, I've got my trays ready, so I'll sow a load more. Got about 50 seeds left for me to sow. But no, it's been absolutely ghastly. We've just managed to get out today, the first time in a week, and a little treacherous. I've still got a lot of snow outside the front door, and fortunately the councilmen have come along with the shovels and the barrel loads of grit, and yeah, they've cleared the footpaths, so that's handsome. But I still need to be able to get out from my front door to my car, and I've got about a 2-foot snowdrift there, you know, to negotiate. But on saying that, with the cold, my other little tray of broad beans, they were the Aquadols Claudia. They run the wee table outside. Now, even though they had about 2 foot of snow over the top of them, we had some tremendous sun yesterday and today, and it's thawed all that snow away. And would you believe I've only lost 2 plants out there? I had a dozen plants out there. I've got 10 left, and they all look to be strong, healthy plants. So yeah, there's a wee bit of an update. This is my second lot of winter lettuce. Whoops! I don't think you see that. Looking a wee bit limp at the minute. Yeah, but this is the little gem, and yeah, the soil's a wee bit dry. But yeah, it's yeah, when you're growing them on the indoors, you need to make sure that yeah, the soil is constantly moist. Doesn't need to be wet, just needs to be moist. So yeah, I'll do that shortly before we go too much further. Let's put that back. Yeah, but yeah, that was the second lot. You saw me sow the first lot. I've already harvested those, and this is the second lot. Yeah, these have been, what, 4 weeks, I think. But yeah, anyway, there we go. That's what I've got to say at the moment. Now, also what will be going on in this video today is another little circular trip around my neck of the woods in the Forest of Dean. There's a wee section on of Goodrich Castle, which is the Henry VIII castle. That's just 20 odd minutes or so from here, and loads of other wee scenes. Road through the forest up to Ledbury. Yeah, there's a few other things, but also what I'm intent to do is put on book 2 of my fairy story. So yeah, that's about 6 or 7 minutes long. So yeah, I think the whole video is going to be 10-12 minutes or something of that ilk. So without any further ado, I'll say see ya, catch you later, bye for now. Faerie Down Book 2, The Fairy House. The Flutter family had lived in the same location on Cookie Patch Farm for as long as anyone in the family could ever remember. Home was alongside the edge of a field system between 2 farms belonging to Farmer Brown and Farmer Giles. Fallon Flutter, the patriarch of the Flutters, was always constantly busy doing DIY to their home. If he wasn't busy fixing the home, he was busy foraging in the hedgerows for materials for the family home. But that's what fairies do. They make do and mend. They never throw anything away. It just wears out to the point it can no longer be fixed. Then it has to be refabricated again. But that's what fairies do. When Fallon went foraging, he never really knew what it was he was looking for. But he knew what it was as soon as he saw what it was. Fallon was a master of adaptation. More often than not, it was nothing like what he thought he had imagined. But that's Fallon. That's what Fallon does. Fallon would drag home all manner of dross. Beech mass, acorn cups, bits of string, broken glass, disused cobwebs, pieces of plastic sheet, in fact almost anything at all that took his fancy. On this occasion it seemed Fallon was stockpiling for no apparent reason. When asked what he was doing, he would reply, "You'll know when it happens." It wasn't that Fallon was abrupt, but he does like to keep his cards close to his chest. He likes to keep his powder dry. He doesn't like to let his right hand know what his left hand is doing. But that's Fallon. That's what Fallon does. Fawn Flutter, the matriarch of the Flutters, would often get her own back on Fallon when he would ask, "What's for evening meal?" and Fawn would reply, "You'll know when it happens, hee hee." Fallon decided it was now time to dig out his toolbox from his workshop, because today he was in his construction mode. He was manufacturing something. The family knew that there was something different with Fallon, as he had his boiler suit on and his wee yellow hard hat. Because Stitch and Stag were apprentices to Fallon, they wore green hard hats. Stitch and Stag were brothers who got on really well with each other. But then, that's what fairies do. They don't know what their task would be today, but they accepted that whatever it was they were going to be doing, and it was to be working with each other for the good of the family. But when Fallon calls for a hand for some work or task, the boys would drop whatever it was that they were doing to lend a hand for the good of the family. Fallon flapped his wings and gently ascended to the bough of a tree with a long length of twine. Up and down, 32 times fixing the twine to the sticks and the boughs. What on earth was Fallon up to? Stitch and Stag hadn't a clue. They just followed Fallon's directions. If Fallon said this, Stitch and Stag got this. If Fallon said, "I want that," then the two boys got that. No questions asked. Following morning, Fallon, Stitch, Stag were up and about their trade long before the rest of the family. It became very evident when the sun rose over the distant hills what Fallon was up to. He was building yet another fairy house. Well, to be fair, it wasn't clear at first what it was he was erecting, because Fallon, like all fairies, build their homes from the roof down to the ground. I say ground. All fairy houses are built on stilts, so the home is off the ground in case of heavy rains and flooding. The new house was in fact an extension to the original house. For some time, Flower and Petal wanted their own rooms. Fallon got fed up listening to the constant whinging and whining and decided that he would get on with the construction of a place for his older girls. What Fallon and the boys built was in fact a separate house with many rooms, and when Twig was old enough she would move in with them. Fallon had realised in his latter years that he had no need for drama, conflict or any kind of intensity. He just wanted a cosy home with good food on the table and surrounded by his lovely loyal fairy family. And this is what makes Fallon happy. LJ, although born and bred on the farm, she was never aware of the fairy houses around her farm. She would go to the hen house to collect the eggs with her mother, and didn't even see the fairy house made of sticks and twigs and leaves. LJ would trundle the hedgerows picking berries and fruits for her kitchen, and Mum would make pies and crumbles and other things with the berries, and she would make a home brew for the winter months for her hard-working husband. Again, LJ never saw where the Flutter family lived, even though she had picked fruit and berries and played so close to where the Flutters lived. When LJ was in the paddock helping with the sheep and the lambs, she was so close to the Flutter family. The Flutters oversaw the herding of the sheep. Farmer Giles thought his sheepdogs were doing a grand job, but in fact it was the Flutter fairies. They were guiding the sheep into the pens or the new paddocks. The trick was to whisper into the ears of the few headstrong ewes and guide them to where they were supposed to go, and the rest of the flock would just follow. Easy. But then, that's what fairies do.